Good-looking crew.
Yes, sir. It is a good-looking crew, Treaticus. Today is episode 3 of Collectin and Connectin podcast. Welcome, everybody. We got Treaticus, King Brett, and our special guest today, ZachBinkley. What's up, man?
Big time.
Glad to be here. Glad to be here. This is great.
Yes, sir. We're glad to have you. You've been in TopShot doing some things, and especially here recently. So I can't wait to dig into that. You have a really cool background, buddy. You're a professor at a university up in Chicago, Loyola University, and very cool sports management. Tell me about that. Tell us about that. What all are you teaching?
I've been teaching at the college level for about 10 years now, full time. My expertise is in the sports technology, sports analytics realm. I was telling before we got started here that my PhD is in education technology. So I was going through some books of mine in the past and found that some Web 2 books were out there. I started 10 years ago. So here we are in Web 3. I'm kind of like already, experiencing and learning from that as well. My courses that I teach, I have sports analytics. That's kind of like my main focus. So using data in sports. But I also teach sociology of sports. Look at societal impacts, societal issues that we have within sports, and how sports can be a vehicle for that. Another class that I really enjoy is sports media, which is like half entertainment, half journalism. That kind of sports media world's kind of being combined for better or worse right now. With the NFT stuff, I've been on this. I really got into it in like everyone else in the spring of 2021. But the year before that, the semester before that, I was teaching a sports finance class. And we were really looking into blockchain into what this could be as an NFT kind of gated token in the tokenization of sports. And in that time frame in fall of 2020, it was sports finance was one class, and I was teaching sports facilities as the other class. So we're looking at digital ticketing and all that kind of stuff together at once. I was still very hesitant in spring of 2021 with the NFTs. My younger brother kind of pushed me into it even further than what I was. But yeah, I learned by doing. So the last 2 years, I think we've all learned our strategies and what works and what doesn't. We kind of learned from our biggest losses as well. So it's been a fun ride. And then looking into the future, Web 3 is going to kind of unlock a lot of potential, either logistically, financially, or just even the collection of moments. My students, I've built assignments the last year and a half around metaverses. They all in the sports finance class or sports facilities class this past fall, they had to curate their own metaverse museum. They got to select a team or a city that they wanted to, and they picked out. I gave them a fictional $50,000 budget for them to kind of find NFTs that represented that city, and they were like museum curators in the metaverse. So our students are kind of getting exposed to this industry. And if you think I'm creative, right, these 21, 22-year-olds, when I give them this technology, their eyes light up and they see the potential, and they're even more creative than me sometimes.
Well, I want to jump on that real quick because one, you have to be the coolest teacher ever, given those type of assignments. They have to think, man, this is so different than any other class I'm in. But two, the reason I noticed you on Twitter was the virtual galleries and this idea of we're interacting with these NFTs and digital collectibles, and you have them from all different platforms, and you're centralizing and putting them in a place to show off your collection. I thought that when I first saw you doing that, I immediately was drawn, and I DM'd you, and I was like, Zach, what are you doing? This is so cool. I need to know more about this. So double click on that. Talk about the virtual museums, the VR, AR capabilities, things that you see within TopShot as well as NFTs in general.
It has not trying to like bash any one company out there, but the last
here we go.
But the VR industry has taken a hit the last 2 years. I've never seen people gone from this is a cool thing to get this out of my living room kind of thing, right? And we can kind of blame Facebook, Meta. They rebranded away from Facebook into Meta to almost save face. They had an algorithm 60 Minutes issue. So that week that they kind of rebranded to Meta was more about them with their corporate social responsibility than them being ready to be a VR company. But earlier this month, the AR coming out, the goggles coming out from Apple is really going to save us. And that's what we've been waiting for. In the sports world, I've been kind of working with patents and looking back as early as 2015, 2016 on what AR in sports looks like. We got a little sneak peek with the Google Glass, right? You just have a computer in your glasses. You're a quarterback at practice, and you're able to see passing lanes out there. It opens up a lot of new areas for us, but the hardware was not catching up. And finally, the Apple stuff came out, right? Because I've sitting here investing in this stuff, looking at Web3 and the potential here, and everything was the closed headsets. And I think Zuckerberg wants us to be in those headsets 8 hours a day at work. And I'm like, absolutely not, right?
Not going to happen.
Those goggles really kind of saved this movement, or at least showed the potential for it. And going back, I don't know if you remember in 2021 when TopShot was really getting going, they featured a Snapchat AR filter, and you were able to pull up your moments and put it into an AR.
What? That sounds awesome.
Yeah, and that was, it had to be only like a week. They were obviously beta testing it. But I knew either from this platform, you got Crypto Toys now, Zed Run as well, the ability to take these NFTs into an AR file and place them digitally in front of you is what's coming. It's almost here. The last year has just been kind of a holding pattern and waiting and see. And we were just waiting, like Zuckerberg and Facebook and Meta, I think they've lost billions of dollars in this area, and it just wasn't working. And it was a lot of negativity. It was contributing to our negativity as well, because this is all kind of connected. But it did feel like between the AI news this past spring, plus Apple's AR glasses, the extended reality, those areas could really develop further. And I think blockchain is going to really help us. It's going to be a player in that as well.
So you envision having your glasses on and interacting with your moments in a whole different, and able to show them off with other people that have the glasses, kind of thing.
Yeah. So the showing off feature of TopShot is where I think. And they've positioned us as our own marketers as well, so it's gonna kind of go well with the community, because we like showing off our collections, right?
Right.
And some Dapper Lab projects, flow projects out there have apps that you can easily create a gallery. I'm thinking like Susables, even the new pro skateboarding museum app. You can easily create like a media file for specific sharing of content. And with the glasses, who knows what that looks like? Even being able to stream, your collection onto a screen is sometimes challenging, right? There's some room to make improvements there. And then I was just looking at yesterday, building showcases. The showcase tab hasn't been updated in 2 years. It's the same showcase. We used to do challenges through those back in 2021, right? That whole
doing it now, and it hadn't changed at all.
Right. That whole tab could be doing a lot for us. And I really think they're waiting for that next level of Web3, whether it's AR, extended reality. They're starting to, update the set and how those kind of mechanisms work behind the scenes. But the sharing and showing off your collection could really take this to the next level, because we could be our own marketers. And that's what Web3 is. We're all individuals. We don't need to go through Facebook to connect with people. So it's a pretty interesting development, I would think.
You're a card collector, like a lot of us started collecting cards and whatnot. And I have written down, collectors want to show off their collections, which is verbatim what you said. I have cards back here in holders that nobody ever gets to see in my office. And even an IO of a new moment, it might be sitting up here on my desk, and you have to physically come over to see it. But if we had galleries or had things that you could visit, my gallery, and check out what I have in my collection, maybe a showcase that I wanted to show off, like that would be so cool to put out virtually.
Right. And I recently I updated my second TV in my living room specifically for NFT display capabilities. Some of the older TVs you can't do a vertical viewpoint, so TVs are like $250 now.
Yeah, right.
It's crazy, right? The NFTs are worth more than the TV I bought.
Is this where you're showing off your new ponies, your Zed Run?
Yeah, exactly.
For those of us that don't know anything about Zed Run and that part of things, tell us. I noticed that about you early on too. What's that about?
Yeah, so Zed Run, that was one of the first projects I got into, and I spent, I think, probably about $300 on my first pony, and I made sure it was something that I enjoyed looking at. I really wasn't into the racing and betting. I only do free racing. And I've done pretty much all this with no crypto. So I've never kind of gotten into the ETH, that, kind of crypto coins, the shit coins that, some of people
getting sloppy
out there. So I haven't gotten into that, but the Zed Run stuff, I come from a town of 1,200 downstate Illinois, so central Illinois. I was part of 4-H growing up, so showing farm animals. We had 2 ponies growing up.
Nice.
They weren't anything for the farm. Our farm was rabbits and chickens, so it wasn't like it was a big farm. But from my hometown, we have a Hall of Fame jockey who had like $20 million in lifetime earnings. So we were always kind of like, our family never had the money to be, in the horse racing business. And then I did find out when my aunt died a couple years ago, that they had this whole Binkley pony farm where they went out and bought these 2 ponies back in the 60s for like $150. They're just like work ponies, like, showcase ponies. They weren't designed to do anything. So I kind of took that idea and got some inspiration, and I rebuilt the Binkley pony farm within a Web3.
Nice.
And now, I'm 2 years into it. I got 10 digital horses. I won a contest early on that got me a Genesis horse that I have not touched. It is still in the wrapper, if you will. And that's my baby. That's the thing. But the other horses have been just purely recreational and fun. And two kind of stories on this. Looking back at it and looking at the last month of horse racing, last 2 months. The issues that the horse racing industry has of killing actual horses is a big problem. That sport is in trouble.
It seems like it's escalating a lot.
It's escalating. It's already for the elite of the elite. It is unattainable by the most public. So in terms of a sport, that sport is dying out. It has become more of a party, if you will, going to the Kentucky Derby than the actual horse race itself.
Right.
So I see Web3 and I see kind of Zed Run as a potential challenger to this, right? It could be more open base. Horse racing is horse racing. It doesn't have to be a real horse. The good thing is I haven't had to kill any horses, right? I'm not killing any of my digital horses.
Right.
And, I'm thinking back to my, upbringing in 4-H, just the cost of raising a horse, right? And stable fees and all that kind of stuff. So I can still enjoy the sport of it without all the negativity kind of associated with it.
That's cool.
The fun thing is I used my digital horse collection in class the last couple of years. And I've recorded some races, and students have had to watch the race, research what Zed Run is, research what NFTs are, and then they've had to write press releases on the race. Like, this horse got third, and they've got to kind of develop their skills in writing a press release for a sports event through NFTs. We did a 3-hour Zoom conference that students ran the whole thing. I helped design it, but they did like a pick 'em, and they went in the Zed Run and randomly picked 10 different races. They showed all the races. And this was for the sports media class where I have students kind of preparing to be play-by-play people, right?
Right.
They were actually doing play-by-play for these digital horse races.
That's awesome.
And the audience didn't know what the race was or how to look up the result. They did like a pick 'em game. We did a gamification kind of event. So the students have gotten to use this stuff in class and kind of learn in real time. But yeah, Zed runs a pretty good project.
That's cool.
It's fun in terms of the entertainment factor.
Yeah. Nice.
I looked for excuses to not go to class, and I'm sitting here right now, and I'm like, sheesh! Like, how do I sign up for? How do I sign up? Like, can I telecommute? Like, dude, it's so awesome. Like, I'm like gray-haired man. You're teaching it and like learning and showing off it. Like, man, dude, that's just awesome.
Really cool.
How do we audit this class?
Yeah.
I've never had attendance issues.
I bet you have too many people. You're like pretty sure you didn't sign up for my class,
right? Like, just come on in. Then here's what's cool though is I'm gonna be honest. The last 2-3 years in education's been tough. It's been a shit show, right? And it's been hard to manage the amount of students I have. I have about 150 students a semester, so it's a lot, and I treat them all as individuals, and if they need a day off, they can stay home. If they're sick, if they're waiting a COVID test, whatever it may be, I'm very flexible and empathetic. In most classes, I run a metaverse alongside my in-person class. So if they're unable to come to class, they can always kind of join us in the metaverse and still interact in the chat room. And they don't take advantage, or they take advantage of it, but not to a point to where they're, not coming to class.
You're not taking advantage, but they're
it's always there as like a
I've told you before, we all have a teacher or two that we think about and appreciate, and whatnot. So, I mean, especially right now during this time, man, thank you for all you're doing, because that's a tough job to have.
That's huge. I mean, all you're doing, I wouldn't be surprised, man, if you're not a hot commodity in the college. You're probably one of those assistant coaches, or or one of those coaches at a smaller college that one of the big boys is ready to scoop up.
Yeah, teachers are like anything. If you're good enough, you'll always get recruited by someone else, right?
That's what I'm talking about. I've been getting recruited by So Ray. I don't know who they are, but
So Ray.
I think that's a great segue to hot commodity. Let's talk NBA draft, man. You were recently sent last weekend.
Unbelievable.
To the NBA draft from NBA.
Wait, you were at the draft? No way.
Wait a second. Tell us about it, Zach. What was that like?
I've been invited to the draft since I was in high school, coming right out of the high school, the NBA.
Okay, Treat. Let Zach talk.
I'm still recovering.
Wow.
I think I got notified 2 weeks ago, and the first place I went was our C&C Twitter group. I'm like, anyone else getting like a spam email out there? I was like, this is it. There's no way, right? There's no way. And then they're doing so many kind of contests now, right? It's like constant utility. I kind of forget what contests we entered months ago, right?
Yeah,
so I'm like, there's no way this is real. I'm checking with you guys, and you're all like, yeah, you need to respond back. And the Dapper employee I'd not heard about, and they're like, oh, if it's this person, it's legit. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So two weeks ago, I got told, I got the grand prize winner for the draft experience. And I'm just reading through like the perks of the program, and I'm like, oh, I must not have read the original blog post thinking I'm not going to get it, right? So I went back and I was just blown away. It wasn't directly through NBATOPSHOT, so they weren't necessarily there to kind of run the show or to organize it. It was a part of the NBA experience package.
Nice.
Cool.
So there was, I would say, probably about 20 other groups of people with us at one time throughout the day or the night before.
Cool.
It was very nicely organized and ran nicely. Email communication was good. The hardest part, honestly, was the hotel within 2 weeks and finding travel accommodation. So my brother and I, he's a teacher as well, so he had a couple of days off. So we just drove out there real quick and was able to do it pretty cheaply on a budget. But we got accommodations. When we got out there, the first thing was Wednesday night was dinner with Joakim Noah.
Wow.
It was incredible. And Dylan, my brother, he goes by Benny Drool for NFT people.
Shout out. What's up, Benny?
Yeah, we were kind of freaking out because we didn't know what to expect, right?
Sure.
And it just said a sit-down intimate dinner with Joakim Noah, and we're sitting there going like, it's going to be the three of us with a candlelit dinner.
Some rose petals on the table.
Right. I'm going to have to carry a conversation with an NBA legend for 2 hours. Like, I could probably do it, but
Joakim, pass the salt, please.
Right. So,
you going to finish that?
Yeah, exactly. So we get there, and there was a person to check us in at the lobby, and they took us around the corner and went downstairs, and we had our own specialized kind of room at this tavern, this restaurant in Manhattan. We were in the financial district.
So cool.
So it was an easy walk across the Brooklyn Bridge to get there. But we got there, and there's probably about 25 people in a U-shaped table. They made us wear name tags because Joe wanted to kind of talk to us, call us by names. And then from there, it was pretty much all you could drink, all you could eat. They had buffet food. They had appetizers going around. And then Joe made sure to go by each person and probably have like a 15-minute conversation with them.
Wow. That's awesome.
Fuck out of here.
It was great. We talked about the NBA draft. He's just as big a fan of Wemby as we are. I mean, he's so excited. Wow. He talked nothing about greatness about his family and his ability to work the press. We had just listened to the JJ Redick podcast with Victor that morning, so that was fresh in our heads. He was, I think JJ said he's already enlightened, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, he was very good on that. That was a good podcast.
Very good, very good. So we talked about that, and then we started talking about I've done work with the NBA Combine in the past. My students have gone to the Combine and worked the event, either from a media perspective or actually on the court testing them. Because a lot of the stuff I do is the technology with shooting, AI, and then the vertical jump stuff as well. So we were talking about his draft, and he's like, I'm still mad I got drafted 9th overall. I was a top 3 player. And I'm like, that's not on you. Like you performed. Looking back, you were a top 3 player in that class. It was just that 6 teams didn't do their homework or didn't assess you correctly.
He was incredible at Florida.
Right.
They were so good.
And I mentioned to him, and this is the big thing about sports analytics, everything he does great, we have a hard time measuring.
For sure.
Right? Hustle, intangibles, leadership, toughness, clutchness, like all that kind of stuff. We're getting there in terms of measuring it. But a combine 15 years ago was not going to show that for him. So, and he could have had a couple, teams ahead of him that didn't need a center as well. So, we talked about that, how, the combine isn't necessarily going to move you up in the draft. It will definitely move you down in the draft. They'll find some weaknesses I didn't like. Because I'm not sure if he said he went through all the tests or not, but we had a good conversation about that.
That's so awesome.
He was asking me about Scoot. He didn't know much about Scoot. So I said, he's that archetype of a athletic guard. He's got he's a 6'4" LeBron kind of thing. He's Dwayne Wade. Yeah. High energy, attacks the rim. Has a lot of athleticism. And then what I witnessed the next day with Scoot is the media personalities there, the ability to talk to the press, the ability to, really have conversations with people. He shows some leadership traits as well. But he, when Scoot would walk into the lounge the next night, like everyone kind of, wow, that's him kind of impact. But yeah, that was a great dinner. We had pictures with Joakim. We actually got at our table, we had probably about a $40 New Era Bulls hat waiting for us.
Nice.
And then they had these backpacks as well. So my brother got some stuff to take back to his kids on that trip.
Nice.
So that was Wednesday night's event. It was pretty chill, pretty easy to do.
So cool.
That's a great start right there.
Yeah, I got to meet some other people. I'm not sure if they were Top Shot collectors. we were talking so quickly to him that we forgot to show him his debut moment. We both but I'm also thinking he did the Paris trip with
Right.
Top Shot, so he knew all that stuff. So it was good to have a good conversation and meet him.
I'd love to see you break down 3-ball shot through some of those analytics. If 3-ball sends you a video of him shooting, can you have your class break it down and put it? Oh, please do.
Can you cut out the air ball at the end? Can you show the form? Maybe zoom in?
Because shooting's my thing. I could never move very well.
There you go.
Me too.
And, my dad had me going all over the Midwest doing free throw competitions when I was younger.
Nice.
I was getting 23 out of 25 consistently. Never good enough to get first place, but always good enough to get second, I think.
Very nice. I did one through Knights of Columbus or
something
a long time ago.
Yep.
My going into my senior year, we went to my dad was good buddies with Eddie Sutton. Y'all remember Eddie Sutton?
Yep.
We went to Kentucky. He was coaching there then, and I made it to the finals of the free throw competition. And me and this other kid, man, we were just going back and forth. It got down to first to miss, right?
Yep.
And it was just back and forth. And Sutton he getting frustrated because he's wanting to move on, probably wanting to go home, have a cold one. And so
no way.
He was laughing, and he waited until it was my turn. He went and stood under the basket and just started messing with me, and I bricked it.
He was tired of waiting. Let's make this happen.
He was like, I know I can spook this treat kid. I can shut,
He's over there point shaving on a free throw contest.
He probably was.
Middle school or high school.
He probably was.
It's camp steak forever.
I love it.
Zach, what about draft night? It looked like y'all had pretty good seats, good view of things.
Yeah, so the whole draft day experience, I think we had to the draft was at 8, so that was kind of for us in the Midwest. That was a little later start than we're used to.
Oh hell yeah!
We had to show up, be there by 4:00. From there is kind of the same group from the night before, and we were part of the NBA experience kind of tour. So we had some people from the NBA chauffeuring us around. First place we went was the red carpet. Got to take pictures there, but we also got to set up in an area. Our backs were to Richard Jefferson and Kendrick on the pregame show on the red carpet show. So we were right up against them. We were actually told that if we turn around and look during the telecast, we'll be asked to leave in that area.
Wow!
So I want to see your backsides.
Yeah, so I recorded it. I haven't watched it yet.
Brett would so get kicked out of there.
Yeah. I already have
no fucking way he could sit there and not turn around.
I go to Kinko's, I get my face printed out, I staple it on the back of my hat, so the whole time I would be there, but I wouldn't be there. Technically, I'm not breaking any rules.
Yep, absolutely.
Dude, so awesome.
It was cool. We got to stand on a platform, so when the players kind of walked by, we were able to take good pictures. They had some NBA players, Dalen Terry, Moses Moody, were there to do interviews with the players as well. So they're getting some media training as well. I always look at this from my sports media class kind of thing of how they orchestrate this and then how they help the players develop the skills. So that was part of it.
It's a big part of the job for them to be
Moses Moody, Arkansas boy.
And it's how we make money, right?
Go Hogs, Moses Moody.
Yeah, so from there, we got a tour of the green room. So we went down onto the floor, got to see the tables where all the families played at or sat at. And then we had to wait. We only got to see probably 7 of the draft picks on the red carpet because the second bus got delayed. There was a traffic jam. It was kind of tense. You could tell that because Victor's bus, the second group, was at least 30 minutes late. And I'm sitting here thinking logistically, ABC's going live at 8, whether you like it or not, right? We can delay it a little bit. So we were kind of thinking about how that was going to impact our experience. We had plenty of time on our stuff. It was no problem. But the players finally did get to the stage. We were able to get up there and have a picture with the group as well.
Saw that. Super cool. Someone
Yeah.
was in the
So
Bulls
cool.
jersey.
Yeah, that was my brother.
Fucking
Brother, right?
Yep. I think we only saw 2 Bulls fans the whole night, so he was
in
one
Chicago.
of them.
That makes sense. No Jordan.
I said, I think I said something like, if the Bulls want to be a part of the league tonight, we'll be ready to celebrate.
Wow.
So
I'm surprised by that.
Yeah. And then from there, we got a picture with the trophy as we were waiting for the players.
Awesome.
But then the pregame lounge, they took us to a lounge area underneath Barclays, and it was phenomenal. All you could eat. They had a cigar bar, and they were cutting up and making cigars for everyone.
No way.
So I got to take some of those home. And then eventually Scoot came and joined us in that lounge and took pictures and kind of did like an MC event. There was a DJ there. And then there was this one room. I keep talking about NFTs as the Willy Wonka's golden ticket, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. One fancy room in the lounge, and I walked by it like a couple times. I'm like, what is this room? I'll take a picture of it. And I finally walk into it, and it's a candy store. And it had unlimited candy on the walls, and you had all kinds of drinks, soft drinks, water on the bottom.
I'm in.
You can just take it to your seats. Just pick them up and take them. So I've seen this in other stadiums, but I've of course never been there. So that was crazy. And then our seats were off. Our seats were on the floor next to the green room, but we had high top tables and chairs that were just off the side from the green room. So we were right there for everything. Our table was right next to Grady Dick. Bill Self was there. So, we were right there with everyone.
I mean, not to be, funny, but that's the full NBA experience. You're not just going to your seat, like you're in every part that they are. Like that's awesome.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It was incredible.
And Grady Dick kind of stole the show, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
that suit, man.
That suit and his personality.
TikToks.
TikTok, yeah. I've seen more of his stuff. Dick pics on
I was going to say, it's probably due to your search history more than it is.
It could be the algorithm.
Well-dressed dick pics, and Grady shows up.
Oh, my. Oh, my.
Oh,
dude, I loved watching, and I was so grateful for you, Zach, like posting throughout this whole thing, right? Because I know it's an experience, and you're there, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's like everything is like an oh my gosh moment, right?
Yeah.
So just on behalf of all of us, just the average collectors, we appreciate you posting all that because I even wrote you on Twitter. I was like, dude, living vicariously through you, because I've always wondered what it's like, the whole experience. And for those of you listening and not watching, like he talked earlier, referenced a Bulls hat. It's in the background. It's beautiful. He referenced a cigar. He held it up. The NBA experience, and it's literally it's what it was. Like I'm sure it's hard to even think about everything that you experience in people and conversations.
And I planned ahead because I wanted to share this experience with you all. The Collectin and Connectin group has just been phenomenal for me. It's been a game changer in terms of my interaction with the web, in terms of my own mental health. Going at this alone with my brother and our buddy Steve the last 2 years, has been challenging at times. But I wanted to make sure I shared this moment with you, and then also I've got ideas for the group. There's nothing stopping us from doing this on our own and setting up not necessarily a level to this, but just finding a restaurant in New York, reserving a room, and then trying to connect with an NBA legend to come hang out. You probably have to pay him a little bit, but you can get group tickets to games as well. And I mean, this is what the NFT Web3 community is. We're not going through and waiting for Facebook to kind of put us together. We can do our own thing.
Love it.
Yeah, Zach, since you're an expert in the field, that's one of the things that early on, we talked about how do we help people come into this space and stick around. And even to the point, like we've talked about, I don't know how you would do this or how you would pitch this, but it would make sense to me that we could offer that service to different Web3 sports collectible companies, like, bring C&C in as a service to that. It maybe even I don't know. You tell me how crazy this is. Maybe in the sign up process, they could opt in to something like this. It doesn't cost them anything,
Right.
But if they opt in, they do some, training. They get to know some people, watch some videos, and they get an extra moment. Like,
yes,
participate in this. You'll get something, but you'll also get to know these people. So you're not just dumped into Discord with this. You're dumped into a smaller pond.
Yep.
I mean, what do you think about that kind of service in Web3?
So I think, first off, C&C, I think all you needed would be an event manager, someone to just take on that role and once a month, twice a month, find events, go places, do all the logistics for people, and just say, hey, this is what we're doing. Here it is. Do that.
Wow.
With the NFT, I'll call it the NFT onboarding.
Right.
And I've been vocal about this, and I've mentioned it to Top Shot a couple of years ago. We need a tab that's just for education purposes. Yeah. And the education could be gamified, right? To where the more lessons you knock out, the more dapper you get, or you get sent a moment. You can gamify the learning process. Mm-hmm. We shouldn't be relying on people to learn from their mistakes. And I feel like you're going to make mistakes, right?
Yeah.
You're going to learn from them, but we want to minimize that because that's what's driving people off. Everyone I kind of get on board with this, they might lose $10 on a moment and not understand why. And now they're like, I'm not going to get this money out. I'm not going to be able to do anything. I'm out.
Yeah.
And I've onboarded a lot of students over the years who have, again, learned by doing, right? They've done some promotions where you get like $15 free in Dapper, those kind of things where maybe we're allowing people to make mistakes also at a risk-free could help too. The new locking leaderboards is perfect for that because we're all kind of getting rid of our mistakes, right? We're able to turn the mistakes into a score, burn that, and get something back. So we're making headway on this. But I would like to see that the onboarding process. This is not simple stuff. Like it's not right. It's taken us 2 or 3 years to understand what this is. It's still in beta. We don't know what this could look like once we add AI to it. Once we do add the external virtual reality stuff. We just did the Twitter bot with the finals, and it took us a while to understand what the hell is going on.
So cool.
People messaging you like, "Is this a real thing, or is this someone just trying to get our moments?" I'm like, I don't know.
Right. And then here's where it's really going to get interesting. Where we're really going to have to do a good job of onboarding through education is the Gen Z crowd. Right now, we have 0 Gen Z in here. That's who my students are. You start looking at the Minecraft and the Fortnite worlds. You start looking at Roblox and the numbers that those 3 are doing, Roblox, Fortnite, and Minecraft. Once they get into this, once NFT starts going into gaming more, how are we going to onboard that entire generation into this? That gets me excited, right? That's kind of what I'm educating on right now. It's who I teach. They see the value of blockchain. They see the value of digital ownership. It's funny with Gen Z, when I do a metaverse activity and I say, hey, meet me in this metaverse. I've posted a research article in here for you to read. Like 15 minutes will pass by in class and no one's in the metaverse yet. So I'm like, are you guys lost? What's going on? And they're like, oh no, wait, we're taking our time building our avatars out. Because it matters to them. Their online presence, their online image matters to Gen Z more than any other generation. So they are going to understand like the utility of blockchain, of the PFPs, all that stuff.
They get it.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. So this is one of the things I've seen. You see these hackathons and the other things that, like, there's so much focus, and I think you see it played out in that we've got all these analytic tools, right? There's a bunch of stuff that's been produced for the analytic tools, but the other piece that you're talking about, the onboarding, I really would believe that if they would put something out there that, hey, kind of like the hackathon, you can earn some whatever. You can get some financial backing to build this out.
Right.
That's the thing I keep wondering, if Jacob and the rest of the guys are watching this or listening to this. I mean, we got the man, the leader in Web3 sports collectible NFT education on our podcast, and he's saying this is the future.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
yeah.
What if they put that out there? What would you do if they said, all right, C&C, we want to give you these resources to build this thing out? What would it look like?
The going back to the tabs on Top Shot that we haven't updated in probably a year, right? Maybe 2 years. I feel like the hold on, let me pull it up.
Yeah.
The collection tab. If you go into collection tab and pull up statistics, right? You got the statistics tab.
Yeah.
To me, that's not statistics. That's just data visualization. That's just showing you that you have, 27 of the 28 moments done for this set. We need something like an on-site live token. We need something they could either acquire OTMF NFT or OTM NFT or live token, something that we can see real-time data analytics on the site itself. Now, I'm not sure if that's like a conflict of interest with them,
right?
But there's a lot of educating of new customers, and then there's also the educating of current customers. And we want to make, as a community, we want to make informed decisions. And if we make a mistake and we lose money on an informed decision, we can kind of live with that.
Right.
But it's when we lose money on a set that we thought this was the bottleneck and it ended up not being a bottleneck.
Yeah.
Or the set was closed or open and more moments are coming. Like, we don't know. Right. We got three rare challenges that should be coming, but we are kind of in the dark on that kind of stuff. So it's hard to kind of plan in advance for that without those metrics kind of on the site.
And if you had alongside that some, I think this is where we could provide some service, kind of like what we do in our chat. Hey guys, I'm thinking about doing this, or what is this thing that's happening that's burning? Like, and it's not in Discord, okay?
Yeah.
It's almost like here's the way I think about it. It's almost like when you're and it's happening with everything now. If I'm on any site, there's a little thing down here that says this chat. You need to chat with somebody about this. Like, I think that's where we would fit in as a community. Top Shot uses us to be that chat feature. Like, we've got, a couple hundred collectors, right, that have been through some sort of vetting process with C&C, and you hit that button and you're saying, I'm looking at this moment, and this person goes, hey, they're about to dump a lot of supply in a week. So hold off on that. You might want to, like, that sort of thing where you are, there's a group of collectors that are trustworthy, that have a good reputation, that aren't trying to give you their bags. You can ask these questions.
Like you said, we're casually doing it right now. When the question arises, hey, what do you guys think about this? So,
but I think there'd be a bunch of people in our community that would, if we said, hey, volunteer some of your time, right, to be on call, to answer questions, and you get this.
For sure.
First off, I think like Discord sometimes is more problems than it's worth.
Yeah.
And I think I get a very Web 1 vibe from Discord. Like, it feels like we're back in AOL Instant Messenger days, and it takes forever to look through stuff. I remember in Web 2 about 10 years ago, a big trend was having like tech evangelical. I can't remember what the word they're basically like hired by Apple to help other people use Apple. And they were kind of like hand holders, right? Like, you've already been sold on the product, and we're going to connect you with someone who has experience with it, who has been vetted, who we trust, and they are there as tech support to kind of walk you through it. I can never say the it's not evangelical, but it's like I can never say the word, but
ambassador.
That's what it is. It's
Ambassador, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, having a network of that kind of on demand, having chat on the website, not in a Discord.
Yeah.
I mean, this is, everyone complains about it still being in beta. Like, it's still in beta for a reason.
There's a lot.
We don't know where this is going. It might be 2 more years.
We still got a long way to go, but we're making progress.
Absolutely.
Bro, Zach, I'm still thinking about you blowing my mind talking about everything you're talking about with the kids and everything else. I'm imagining, right, like NBT, I can't even talk now either, like video games, but with my collection. Like I'm using my legendary LeBron or my common whoever, like just being able to play with your own collection against, like, whoa, dude. Like, how crazy would that be within TopShot or within like any platform?
And
like,
here's we talk about Web 2 being a platform economy. You technically do not own your DLC on 2K, and you do not own your Fortnite skins, because as soon as that server goes down, as soon as NBA 2K 24 comes out, you lose access to that. You don't get it. You don't actually own it. There's no blockchain. So the DLC industry is a pretty dirty industry within the video game. That's something that they could address. That's a natural merger. We should be able to use our NFTs in NBA 2K. That's a no-brainer for me. Fortnite and Nike finally did that last week, to where your Nike digital collection can be worn in-game and you own it through the blockchain. And that's
so sick, dude.
That's it. That's perfect.
Seeing these big brands jump, Nike, Apple, like you mentioned before, like that gives me a lot of confidence that these like the number one brands are working on how can we implement this.
And I've had to defend this, in higher ed, thinking that this is just like a crypto scam. And I'm like, Nike's in on this, right? I've had to, show the big players that are doing this. So I have confidence as well. Yeah.
NBA, NFL, we got some people involved.
Absolutely.
Zach, man, I feel like we could talk forever. Man, there's so many questions to ask.
I want to.
Amazing stuff.
We could just keep this going. You have so much experience, and it was fun just talking the draft, getting to go to that. What an incredible experience for you and your brother. Very cool. Keep teaching these kids, man. We got to get them all in here.
Yeah,
not just the kids, us too, dude.
Yeah,
because that's like you brought up earlier, man. Like even onboarding, it took me forever to get an account and onboard, and now things are so streamlined. But collecting and connecting and sharing that knowledge helps us all so much.
No doubt.
Thank you for everything you do, and just in general.
Some of the platforms out there has made TopShot look like amazing. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking like MLB Tops originally went with like Wax and that platform, and I remember how hard it was to kind of onboard into that.
Yeah.
So in terms of working with the consumer directly, Dapper, Flow, TopShot's really doing some good stuff.
I agree. Good stuff.
But Mr. Virtual Galleries, Mr. PhD, appreciate you being here today. At ZachBinkley on Twitter, if you want to check out some of the stuff he put out about the draft, as well as his virtual galleries. Episode 3, Collectin and Connectin Podcast. Appreciate everybody being here.
Good times. Thanks, man.
Yes, sir. See y'all again next time.